do these things have in common? Diapers, meals, stop signs, imaginary sisters, Charlotte's Web.
Oh, let me guess. Things we've done over 100 times.
Exactly.
Hello, this is Don
Happy 100th episode of Focused Healthy Family with Gina.
and Don.
We thought today we'd share.
Just looking at, since it's our 100th episode, we look at things we've done 100 times in our parenting life and, well, in our life period, I guess, too.
I mean, when you think about it, some of the obvious things first come to mind. You know, I've walked more than 100 steps, taken more than 100 breaths. Um, and, you know, thinking about our professional lives, I've worked with well over 100 different people over the years, done 100 different transfers.
I've worked with probably over 100 sessions in my EFT work and
And to become a EFT practitioner,
had to do over 100, more than 100 hours, but yeah, at least
training.
100 hours.
And so we know we've changed well over 100 diapers, having 3 children,
Yeah.
and cooked
And,
more than 100 meals.
and I've actually helped in doing that too.
You
Was it
have,
just you?
we probably each individually changed 100 diapers.
And cleaned up after them too.
Wasn't that what's involved in changing a
Yeah,
diaper?
like some of the explosive ones.
Have we cleaned 100 explosive diapers? Possibly.
I don't know.
Stop signs.
Oh gosh.
We've drawn with
Yeah,
sidewalk chalk
but
more than 100 stop signs or on pieces of
that had to
paper.
be done every day.
Well, visits even just to the stop sign.
Yeah, that's true too.
Taking a
So
walk down to the end of the street to
our
see.
youngest, our oldest, I should say, was so into signs. And then I mistakenly, and I don't know if I was mistakenly, because it was a good thing, but drew them on with chalk on the driveway, and we'd do them fill the driveway every day, just
Making
about.
different road signs. The stop sign somehow was his favorite. And they had to each have a post.
Yeah, he would put the post
He could
on.
barely speak, and he was directing us on signs to be made. Well, you started taking him to our neighbor's house was the corner, and you'd walk to the stop sign to visit it and
And
touch
just
it
sit
and look
there
at
a
it.
lot of times, yeah.
And I was like, what if it's rainy and we can't take a walk to the stop sign? And that's when
You made
I made
over
one.
100 stop signs, probably.
Well, yeah, the first one I made on probably a paper plate.
Hmm. I put that rod into
I do use like a
it.
paint stick, but then you took a metal rod.
Well, we'd made out of cardboard and the thing would break, so I put a small steel rod into it. I remember you going, "What did you do that for?" You hurt
Luckily,
somebody with it.
he was not the kind of kid who swung at things.
Yeah, we were lucky there.
Um,
We made a list.
Trips to the cleaners. Oh, imaginary sisters.
Oh gosh,
Our second child had 100 imaginary
I thought it was
sisters.
actually 200 too when it came down to it.
Oh,
But anyway,
the
yes, we
name
had over 100.
100 stuck out in my head. And she told 100 stories about them. We listened 100 times. Reading books. We read books of bedtime and other times in the day. And I know we've each read more than 100. And in particular, we've reread the book Charlotte's Web probably close to 100 times, at least in parts.
Well, even because some nights you could end up reading it 5 or 6 times at least.
Not the entire thing.
But he would do like the end clips and yeah, because he would wake up. He would think he'd finish and
We'd read him to
where are you
sleep.
going, Dad? It's like, and I just continue to read.
What other things do you think you've done 100 times?
We've gone to parks probably 100 times. We
Yeah.
love to go take the kids to parks.
And from when Abby was 3 and Harrison would have been 7, we went to weekly park day for quite a long time, meeting up with other homeschool families.
We probably cooked. I know we've cooked over 100 meals.
Cleaned up spills, definitely cleaned up more than 100 spills.
And you helped, I think, with all the work we've done with how to talk to kids, helped me to learn not to overreact when spills happen, which I think
I have a memory of a time that I overreacted my own spill. We were rushing to get out the door, probably to go to the park. We used to have theater before park day too, so that made a really busy Wednesday. We had to get out the door, had to have lunches made, off to theater, and then to the park. And for some reason, I decided to water the plant right before. It was hanging in the living room, and it spilled dirt all over the floor, and I lost it. All kinds of colorful words came out my mouth, and it's like I totally lost my cool
Yeah.
on myself.
So have we lost our cool 100 times?
Oh, easily,
Through my
easily.
life, at least, if not,
And I'm sure at least 100 times I've said, okay, I'm going to do that differently. I'm going to choose a different way.
well,
I'm going to try something different.
had over 100 conversations of all different sorts, from Abby telling me your stories as a infant, coming home from work, just blabbering about whatever it is, but telling her, babbling. What did I say? Blabbling.
You said blabber. That's I answered 100 questions, had 100 different arguments
Yeah.
with each other
Why?
and with the kids. Buckled a car seat more than 100 times.
Get on up, sit down, and be quiet. I used to kind of sing that as we get the kids in the car.
That's a fun little story. So a picture about a 4-year-old boy, the little Lego person that we called Harrison. He put it on the rocking chair. Go to sleep, close your eyes.
Yeah, that was
He was rocking the rocking chair back and forth, talking to this little person, saying, go to sleep, close your eyes. Exhausted parents, ways of helping children go to sleep.
Which didn't help a darn bit, but that was me, I think, wasn't it?
And he was very gently. He wasn't yelling. He was just gently rocking the chair, saying, go to sleep, close your eyes.
He's the same child that put Vaseline all over was it him or Abby that did that?
No, Abby did that.
Put Vaseline all over.
She was changing
what was the
Larry
the cucumber?
He was a superhero.
Yeah, but he was from vegetable
VeggieTales.
Larry the cucumber.
Yeah, but it was like his superhero self.
Yeah.
Whatever. She got it out of the diaper bag, some Vaseline. Coated him head to toe.
His skin was very soft after that.
In Vaseline. That goes back to the cleaning up of the more than 100 messes.
Well, yeah, because they got on the couch and
I was wondering, have we tied more than 100 shoelaces? I'm not sure because
we used a lot of Velcro.
We did a lot of Velcro because it was a whole lot easier, and you have to worry about kids tripping on the shoelaces.
But we did teach our kids that. Remember using the shoebox.
You'd use that with Harrison.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Did you use it
a little bit too? I'm not sure about Evie. But I remember, putting the holes and making like a shoe and teaching them with the shoebox.
That came from a kid's story we had about learning to tie the shoelaces.
Right. Yeah.
We know we've watched more than 100 kids' TV shows and probably individual shows, more than 100 episodes of Dragon Tales, Sesame Street,
Bob the Builder, Theodore the tugboat.
Thomas the Train.
Yeah.
So many different shows.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any others specifically, but
100 pushes on a swing.
Oh yeah, that was always
higher.
Well,
all three kids like to be pushed on a swing.
But and then teaching them how to
pump themselves.
Start pumping themselves was
our youngest was the quickest at those kinds of things.
Yes. And then having the neighbors coming over and swinging. And I remember the little neighbor girl. Remember the tiniest one from behind us?
Okay.
And she came over and I was doing as she was swinging, and she was giggling as she was. It was anyway. Because
for those of you not watching on YouTube,
oh yes,
Don is
twisting my ear. My tongue comes out, push my nose, and it goes back in.
That reminds me of a time that I probably did this once too, and I think a babysitter did. Abby was quite the lightweight and pushed her on the swing and she flew off the swing.
Or like when the one babysitter pushed her down the
Yes,
driveway in
we
that
had
red little
we
red
had a
car.
young teenage boy as a babysitter at the time, and
Pushed him left to go down this really steep driveway, and then
and
she got the end and what tipped over, I
big
think,
wheel. I don't know. She said she
frightened him.
did not like him. We've certainly filled the car up with gas over 100 times, and I was trying to figure out if we've gone on more than 100 road trips, and I don't know that we quite have.
Depends on what you consider road trip, I guess, too, because we used to travel down to your mom's when they first moved down to the lake, which was at the time about 2 hours from us, from our old house. And we were going there about every month for the first year, I guess, every month or 2 months, because we even start leaving clothes and some different basic stuff down there, so we wouldn't have to transport
Many
it.
trips there, and driven to St. Louis and to Pennsylvania and to New York, and where else have we driven to with the kids?
Florida.
We drove, yes, we
went to what, Disney?
Our-
Did we go to, no, we didn't go to Disney. We went to
SeaWorld.
SeaWorld.
We
that's
went
right.
to the beach and in Florida.
I know I've done 100 laundry loads,
Oh yes, easily.
just in towels, I think.
Have you ironed 100 things?
I'm not a big ironer, no. Like
I'm not sure if I've ironed 100 times in my lifetime,
no, I don't think so.
but I've certainly folded more than 100 clothes.
Yes,
I've wiped faces more than 100 times.
on the other end too.
Yeah, and if you add work in, we're getting into the hundreds of thousands of times that I've wiped. Smiling faces and chubby bottoms. Or not so smiling faces.
Yeah, some chubby bottoms. I don't know.
We've taken our kids to probably more than 100 different events
Oh my
over the
gosh,
course of their, a 26-year-old, Abby will soon be 22. We have youngest is 15 now, between theater events, dance, scouts, robotics,
Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts,
Science Olympiad, all the different
co-ops.
classes that they have done over the years. I was thinking about getting together with friends, like probably 100 different play dates, like trips to get together with people, whether meeting up at someone's house or at the park and having kids over.
Because we remember we used to go, we always went every summer, well, for quite a few years, we did summer camp, Boy Scout summer camp, because that was like our oldest favorite. It was his big thing he loved to do, is go to summer camp, and we'd go there once at Silly Show.
They had a family day. We don't need to make fun of anything, or
no,
just,
but
it was the same ceremony they did every time. But they had a family day, and we would go up. It's probably an hour and a half drive to where the camp was, and we would drive up late one afternoon to spend the whole evening at a camp. Well, he was there for a whole week.
It was like he was in his element there in a way,
at
least for the first couple of years.
Well, with having pets, as I hear our daughter coming back from walking the dog, I'm sure we've scooped the litter box well over 100 times and
taking dog walks,
trips to the vet.
Right.
Between the multitude of cats and the dogs in our life.
What else is on there?
I think we've
children.
gone over most of this list. I'm thinking about brushing hair, or the clipping nails.
Shaving.
I haven't shaved my children.
I know. Cutting hair could be considered kind of like shaving in a way.
Did you cut their hair 100 times? I didn't let
No.
you. No more putting the bowl on the kid's head and send them in the backyard in the high chair.
Not liking any bit of it. You don't like it, and you'll do it.
Really? Did he not cooperate with you?
Well, No, he did. It was just mainly Harrison, and then he just didn't like it, but he didn't ever.
He leaned.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure we've gone to the hair salon or get our hair cut between the five of us 100 times in total.
Yeah.
I probably have 100 times in my lifetime.
We kissed 100 times.
Yes.
The kids and ourselves.
Yes.
No.
So as we celebrate our 100th episode, thinking about things we've done 100 times, and are these things that we have enjoyed? There have been challenges of things that we've done repetitively, and I like the idea of setting expectations or goals, going on 100 road trips, visiting 100 different places.
Oh, we've played 100 games,
Oh,
and we played
hun-
probably 100 games of
hand and foot,
hand and foot.
and probably 100 different games. Do you think we could list out?
Wow.
That would be a fun challenge to write down all the games we've ever played
Yeah.
and see if we can
Well, because
get it to come
that
to
used to be a
100.
huge thing going down to your parents when they lived on the lake, and we'd go down, and hand and foot was always, you had each night probably at least a round or two of hand and foot, but then you'd always like the train one. What's the
Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride?
Well, as I got older, our kids got into strategy games, but we've also played countless number of card games and board games and video games, Jackbox games,
Shoots and Ladders.
Switch. That's a board game.
Oh yeah, just thinking of specific ones that Sorry was a big one, that we've always enjoyed playing.
Monopoly. We used to play that when we went on vacation.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, at the beach and we'd leave it set up over days that we were there.
Yeah, we could do that at the beach because we weren't with our cats and
Yeah, yeah. Puzzles. I
Yeah,
don't know if we've done 100
I don't think
puzzles.
so because of cats who eat puzzle pieces or get puzzle pieces
Knock 'em on-
lost. That's something I miss doing is the puzzles. So what things can you come up with in your list? Can you write down 100 different books that you've read or 100 different movies we've watched? Surely we've watched over 100
Oh, yeah.
different movies with the kids and individually ourselves, and
Binging makes it even more popular.
100 different binging episodes. And we'd love to share with you some of our couple clips of favorite
Yeah, I'm gonna put in a couple. I'll cut them in here.
podcasts that we've done over the past 2 years.
Tendency to be anxious. That's just part of me and my childhood and my just who I am. It's like, where does it begin? Right. And so I'm very aware of that. I'm a journaler. I'm a writer. Like self-care to me is not a, hey, what should I do today? It's kind of how I survive. I mean, the first 3 things I do in the morning are all about self-care. They're all about me first. And it was more difficult when my kids were little, I have to be honest, because sometimes they were in bed with me or waking me up and I couldn't focus on myself first. But then I had to build it in later in the day, or I had to stay up an hour later. Like I don't, some of my friends who are, like I do meditation, and some of my friends are like, don't you just want to stop having that kind of schedule? And I'm like, well, but I know what the outcome is then. Like I've learned this. If I don't stretch or do yoga or breathe, it's going to go sideways.
So I had surgery in 2019, open heart surgery. Not a fun surgery to go through, by the way. And we went to, initially, when I started feeling that, I felt a little uncomfortable and some numbness going across my shoulders.
After we had a heart attack 8 years prior.
That's right. In 2011, I had my heart attack and had stints at that time. But in 2019, like I said, I felt a little odd and some numbness. And, of course, you were always good at immediately taking me somewhere to just check it out. And so we went about 5 minutes from our house to a smaller hospital.
That they built just for us because it wasn't.
Of course,
there when you
yeah.
had your heart attack.
And at that hospital, of course, I stayed 2 nights.
Couple nights.
Yeah. Where they did evaluation. They figured out I had some more blockage that needed to be taken care of. And so had one room there. And in that room, I use the fact.
Was it that hospital that you had that? I thought it was.
No, just bear with me here. When you're in a hospital room like that, you get all the bucket and the pail with the water and all the yes. And in that room, all my stuff was marked Grothoff D, which is our last name is Grothoff, and mine is, of course, is Don. So I had to go down to the main hospital downtown.
Same hospital system.
So yeah, thank you. And in first room I went into, all my stuff was marked properly with Grothoff D, all the buckets and all that. Went through the surgery, and then I went through a 24-hour recovery room, which didn't have all that stuff in it. It was a group room with a bunch of people in it, which was interesting to be in. And then moved to a final room, which was my final recovery room. And in that particular room, all my toiletry items, the buckets and all that, they were marked with Grothoff H. Now I looked at it and was kind of confused about it when I was in there, but I was kind of in a rough place, I guess. They're not pay, but I did ask him at the time. I said, am I registered correctly here? And she looked it up and she said, no, you're registered under Don. And she looked at those stuff and she said, I don't know how that happened. I don't know. So it didn't really, again, it did not dawn on me at the time, but when we were coming home, I remember you were carrying the bucket with some stuff inside of it. And as you walked through the door, you went, oh my God, Don, your dad was there. And I looked at the bucket. My dad's name was Harold. And it had Grothoff H. And I remember starting to cry and just being kind of awed by it. Because my dad died on preparation for the same surgery back in 1976. So, and of course, surgeries back then weren't I don't think as well developed as they were now. Yeah, I didn't have it. He was like I say, in prep for it when he passed away. And that just kind of sent some shockwaves through me, I guess, in a way. Because, you said he was there helping me out, which I believe wholeheartedly that's what happened. He was watching over it to make sure I made it through that surgery that he didn't have the chance to. And, we also joked, of course, when they do that surgery, they cut down and split my ribs open. I mean, the stuff they do to me, I was glad I was out for it because it wasn't. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You did not.
Well, and the really tough part of it, that waking up from that surgery was probably the hardest part of it, because I remember telling the nurse, and I told the doctor, my last memory of my father was with him having that intubator stuck in his mouth, like I say, in preparation. They were trying to work with him, and him trying to mouth to us that he loved us.
Just they'd happened to pick up along the way a yogi, a man who had he owned everything he owned. He carried in a small bag, like smaller than my purse. He didn't have a phone. He didn't have an address. Like everything he owned, he carried with him. And so the magic of him being swept up in this magnetic draw was like, that was a lot for me. I'm like, there's something really magical happening here. There's something very serendipitous happening. I need to find out what's going on. How did this guy get pulled into this thousands of students coming around the world? conference. And then when I saw him, he was dressed in all white. He had a white beard, and he was very casual and confident in himself, and really like emanated this kind of joyful relaxation. I was like, I want to get some of that, but I was also kind of scared.
We'd love to hear more about your story and how you got into this program with empowering young people going on these journeys.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It really, I would say I can draw a direct link to the life I'm leading now with Adventure EXP and this organization I'm running, to me at 15 years old when I was a young punk going through a rebellious stage pretty hard. And I took my first job as a busboy at the local hibachi restaurant. At that time, I wanted to drop out of high school and move to Aruba to open up a glass blowing shop. And, I took this job at this hibachi restaurant, and it was my first time like properly working. And I remember looking myself in the mirror after the first day. I'm like caked in grease and sweat, and my arms are throbbing. And I realized I need to go to college, and I can't do this for the rest of my life.
Met some really wonderful people through our interviews and just in life itself too, through our parenting and the homeschooling that we do, that we've got some really good friends and people we know.
We look forward to 100 more wonderful podcasts and love to have more interviews. If you're interested in being interviewed on our podcast, or you know someone you'd love us to talk to, connect us with them, share our information, and reach out to us, as well as connect on our website.
Even if you're just a parent and want to talk, we would love to get perspectives from other parents. That would be nice.
We've hoped you enjoyed our 100 podcasts today, hearing some of our favorite clips and reminiscing about things we've done in multitude. Things we've done multiple that we've
that we've done over 100 times.
I'm getting over this head cold, like whatever it was. And we hope you check out more information about us at Focused Healthy Family. Tune in for our Tuesday tips or sign up to receive them by email. Look at the upcoming classes and workshops that we're doing. Connect with us on media, on Facebook, Instagram.
We'll get through this, I promise. It's only been 100 days, 100 times, I mean. So check us out at focusedhealthyfamily.com. And remember,
please share. Remember to share this podcast so that we can continue to bring you more humor and laughter and stories and interviews and discussions on so many different topics related to parenting and parenting as part of the sandwich generation, juggling our children and our aging parents. And share it with someone you'd love, and check out prior podcasts. If you're new to us and have missed some from the past, you can check out the archives. And remember, how we speak to our children today shapes their future and ours.